Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Sitaram Lakshman ki, Shri Radha ki. Kiba Jayo Jayo Gora Chande Haroti Kosho
Kiba Jayo Jayo Gora Chande Harati Kosho
Kiba Jayo Jayo Gora Chande Haroti Koshoba Janarita Tavane Jagamahanaloba Janarita Tavane Jagamahanaloba Daki Nenitai Chabamika Dadara Nikahate agwe tashmi Vasachadradara Bosi Achegora Charatasi Masane Haroti Korena Brahma Adi Devagane Nara Hari Adi Kori Chamara
Sanjaya Mukunda Bashu Goshadigaya Sanjaya Bashu Goshadigaya Sankha Bhaje Kanta Bhaje Bhaje Karataya Kanta Bhaje Chegarataya Madhurami Ganga Bhaje Paramarasaya Madhurami Ganga Bahu Koti Chandra Kini Vadana Ujara Kala Dese Bana Mala Kore Jala Mala Dese Bana Shiva Sukana Radha Premeka Dagara Premeka Dagara Bhakati Nota Deke Godara Sampada Bhakati Nitai Gorai Go, Rai Go, Rai Go, Nitai Gorai Go. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashatyadi Satarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama.
Don't go around with the virus. Don't do that.
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radhe. Jayo Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radhe. Jaya Sitara Lakshmanuman, Jaya Sitara Lakshmanuman. Jaya Goranitai, Jaya Goranitai, Jaya Goranitai, Jaya Goranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Shila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Shila Prabhupada. Nitai Gora Haribol, 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 Nitai Gora Haribol. His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Kodi Vaishnavinda ki jai. Premisito Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sanukunda Radha Giri Govardhana Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Vasdevi ki jai, Harinam Sankirtana ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktavinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande. All glories to the Sammo devotees, all glories to the Sammo devotees, all glories to the Sammo devotees, all glories to the Shri Guru Krishna Prabhupada ki jai.
To sing a Nishan. You can sing it now. Okay. Can you play and sing? Namaste Narashimhaya. Praladala Ladadaine. Hiranyakashipu Vakshaha. Shilatanka Nakalaye. Ito Nishimha Parato Nishimho. Yato Yato Yamitato Nishimha. Bahir Nishimho, Hidaye Nishimho. Nishimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye. Tavakala Kamaravale Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hale Jaya Jagadisha Hale Jaya Jagadisha Hale Darita Hiranyakashipu Lingam Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jagadisha Hale Jai Jagadisha Jaya Nirsimhadev Jaya Nirsimhadev Jaya Nirsimhadev Jaya Nirsimhadev Jaya Pradhan Maharaj Jaya Pradhan Maharaj Jaya Pradhan Maharaj Jaya Pradhan Maharaj Jaya Bhakta Prada Jaya Bhakta Prada Jaya Bhakta Prada Jaya Bhakta Prada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Shri Nishimhadev Bhagavan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Bhakta Prahlad ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanande.
No, Professor, great. Good.
15 is okay. We make it short, you know. Got cartels here. I don't think it. Give Bhagavad Gita to Prabhuji if you want. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Giridharadhari Gopijana Vallabha Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Antara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Samveda Bhaktivedanta ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. So today reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, chapter 9, most comprehensive only, text number 30. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. apiche durbacharo
Picheta suduracharo.
bhajante mam ananya bhak
Bhajate mamananyabha.
sadhureva samantavya
Sadhureva samantavya.
samyog visisto hisa
Samyak vyavasisto isaha.
apiche sudurbacharo
Picheta suduracharo.
bhajante mam ananya bhak
Bhajate mamananyabha.
sadhureva samantavya
Deva samantavya.
samyog vivisto hisa.
Samyak vyavasisto.
Anyone want to try? Want to repeat?
Picheta suduracharo.
Apiche dubacharo
Bhajate mamananyabha.
bhajante mamananya bhak
Sadhureva samantavya.
sadhureva samantavya
Samyak vyavasisto isaha.
samyog vasasti sa apiche subacharo bhajate mamananya bhak sadhureva samantavya
Samyak vyavasisto isaha.
Okay. Anyone else? That's it. Want to try?
Apiche suduracharo
Apiche dubacharo
bhajate mamananyabha
bhajante mamananya bhak
sadhureva samantavya
sadhureva samantavya
samyak vyavasito hisa
apiche suduracharo and bhajante ananya bhak sadhureva samantavya samyak samvasito visa. Okay, word for word. Api, even, chet, if, suduracharo, one committing the most abominable actions.
Committing most abominable actions.
Bhajante is engaged
Is engaged
in devotional service.
in service.
Mam, unto me, Anyanya Bhak, without deviation. Sadhu, a saint. Eva, certainly. Sa, he. Mantavya is to be considered. Samyak, completely. Vasistha, situated in determination. He, certainly. Sa, he. Let's see. Okay. Translation. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Okay. The word sadhurachara used in this verse is very significant and we should understand it properly. When a living entity is conditioned, he has two kinds of activities. One is conditional and the other is constitutional. As for protecting the body, abiding by the rules of society and state, certainly there are different activities, even for the devotees, in connection with the conditional life. And such activities are called conditional. Besides this, the living entity who is fully conscious of his spiritual nature and is engaged in Krishna consciousness or in the devotional service of the Lord has activities which are called transcendental. Such activities are performed in this conditional position, and they are technically called devotional service. Now, in the conditioned state, sometimes the devotional service and the conditioned service in relation to the body will parallel one another. But then again, sometimes these activities become opposed to one another. As far as possible, the devotee is very cautious so that he does not do anything that could disrupt his wholesome condition. He, he knows that perfection in his activity depends on his progressive realizations of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, however, it may be seen that a person in Krishna consciousness commits some act which may be taken as most abominable, socially or politically, but such temporary fall downs does not disqualify him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam it is stated that if a person falls down but is wholeheartedly engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord being situated within his heart purifies him and excuses him from that abomination. The material contamination is so strong that even a yogi fully engaged in service of the Lord sometimes becomes enamored, ensnared. But Krishna consciousness is so strong that such occasional fall down is at once rectified. Therefore, the process of devotional service is always success. No one should deride a devotee for some accidental fall down from the ideal path. For, as explained in the next verse, such occasional fall downs will be stopped in due course as soon as the devotee is completely situated in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a person who is situated in Krishna consciousness and is engaged with determination in the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, should be considered to be in the transcendental position, even if by chance or accident he is found to have fallen. The words Sudha Eva, he is saintly, are very emphatic. They are warning to the non-devotees that because of the accidental fall down, a devotee should not be derided. He should still be considered saintly even if he has accidentally fallen down. And the word mantavya is still more emphatic, for if one does not follow this rule and derides a devotee for accidental fall down, then one is disobeying the order of the Supreme Lord. The only qualification of a devotee is to be completely and exclusively engaged in devotional service. In the Narasimha Purana, the following statement is given: Bhagavati ehya haram anya chesta percha malino napi varjata manyasya nahi sada kachita chabi kachit Timi Patavya Upaya Chandra. The meaning is that even if one fully engaged in devotional service of the Lord is sometimes found engaged in abominable activities, these activities should be considered to be like spots that resemble the mark of a rabbit on the moon. Such spots do not become an impediment to the diffusion of the moonlight. Similarly, the accidental fall down of a devotee from the path of saintly character does not make him abominable. On the other hand, one should not misunderstand that a devotee in the transcendental devotional service can act in all kinds of abominable ways. This verse only refers to accident due to a strong power of material connection. Devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusory energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusory energy, there may be some accidental fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such fall downs. As previously explained, no one should take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense and think that he is still a devotee. If he does not improve in his character by devotional service, then it should be considered that he is not a high devotee. Om Agyanti Mandasya Gana Gana Salakya Chaksu Mene Tamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vistam Stapit Amena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kanamena Dati Swapadantikam. So, Srila Prabhupada, in his lecture, he explains from 30 to 32. Sammaham Sarvabhuteshu. Although Krishna is equal to everyone, he is inclined to the devotee. Example is given. Like government is equal to everyone, but one who is serving directly gets special protection. But when one is serving Krishna, it is not just one-sided devotion. Krishna becomes the servant of the devotee. In the verse 9:30, Krishna says that even though A devotee may have some defects, but if he is enthusiastically serving, then he is considered to be properly situated. Good qualities will come. One should not be attached to just following the rules and regulations. So, rules and regulations, you could say, I read in the second canto, chapter 9 of Srimad Bhagavatam, text 36, Prabhupada gives a lengthy purport on this, like 5-page purport. And Prabhupada explains, even if someone is called a Brahmana, but if he is not inclined to practice devotional service to the Lord, then he has no standing in Krishna consciousness. He's just, you could say, outer decoration of a body, dead body. It's no meaning. Prabhupada also says in his quotes on the calendar, he mentions how someone may have knowledge, but the application of knowledge is higher. So, the path of devotion service is based on devotion, is based on our devotion to Krishna. The knowledge in the beginning is required because that will strengthen our faith in Krishna. And as our faith strengthens in Krishna, who He is, then all knowledge becomes revealed. So in this connection, Prabhupada gives an example. He says, normally, to get the position of a high court judge, it takes a long time. You have to do so much qualifications, but in Krishna consciousness, when you're practicing Krishna consciousness, you're placed in a high court judge position. And by practicing Krishna consciousness, all qualifications come to you. Or Prabhupada gives another example. He says how normally when you're studying outside, unless you get 100%, you don't pass. But in Krishna consciousness, by practicing the process, all knowledge gets revealed to you. The same point, in a different way Prabhupada is saying, same point. From our point of view, we tend to see things from a mundane point of view. We tend to judge by our mundane qualifications, thinking that I have this defect, I'm not perfect in this. We tend to see like that. But from Krishna's point of view, He's just seeing our devotion towards Him. This was in connection with Sanatana Goswami when he got wet chichis, He was traveling Jharkhand forest, and he got those wet itches where blood was coming from his sores. And when he went to Jagannath Puri, Lord Chaitanya was embracing him. And he wanted to commit suicide because he said, I'm offending Lord Chaitanya by allowing him to embrace me like this. But Lord Chaitanya understood his mind and said, actually this body belongs to me. He surrendered to me. And then Sanatana Goswami was telling Lord Chaitanya that Jagannatha Pandit advised me to go to Vrindavan because but then Lord Chaitanya said, who is this Jaga? You're senior to him. How can he advise you like this? And then Sanatana Goswami told Lord Chaitanya that you're actually favoring him more than me. So Lord Chaitanya explained, no, it's not like that. I consider you all like my children. I don't make distinction between learned and not learned. Anyone who's coming to me, I give them shelter. So then after that, Lord Chaitanya embraced Sanatana Goswami and all his itches went away. He became very beautiful again. But one thing to learn in this story is that our connection to Krishna is very close. And if we do anything which is not in proper way in line of devotional service, in terms of not drinking things offered to Krishna properly and things like that, then we'll get a karmic reaction for that. And because Sanatana Goswami drank that water in Jharkhand, which is not clean, then he had that reaction happening to him. But the fact that he surrendered to Lord Chaitanya, then Lord Chaitanya cleared it all up. So this is the main thing, that even though we may have some defects in terms of not being properly, eloquent in learning, or some perfection is not there in our speech or material ability, and these are all secondary. Because Krishna sees our devotion. That's all he's looking at. He's not seeing anything apart from our devotion. Because in the material world, everyone is conditioned by the laws of nature, 3 modes. And in that second canto, 9th chapter, text 36, Prabhupada explains the purport that everyone is eligible for practicing devotional service, even the animals. Although Lord Chaitanya gave it to the animals in Jharkhand, he's the Supreme Lord, he can do that. But even we see, even in this Bhaktivedanta Manor, many animals are around, At night time they come out, foxes and rabbits. So even they take prasad. Give a lot of mercy. So everyone's eligible for this Krishna's mercy. So another example Prabhupada gave was Krishna made a vow in the battle of Kurukshetra that I will not pick up a weapon. So he gave the choice. When Krishna was sleeping in Dwarka, Duryodhana came at his head and Arjuna came at his feet. So Krishna saw Arjuna first, and Arjuna chose Krishna and Duryodhana chose the armies. But then after the fighting was going on, at some point Duryodhana was telling Bhishma that you're favoring the Pandavas because you're not fighting to your best ability. And so Bhishma told Duryodhana, give me 5 arrows, I'll kill them tomorrow. So Krishna told Arjuna because Krishna couldn't sleep that night. He was disturbed about his devotee going to be killed. So he woke Arjuna up in the middle of the night and said, tomorrow you're going to go to Bhishma and ask for these 5 arrows. So that's what Arjuna did. And that was part of the rule in the in the fighting. Some rules are there where after the battle is over, they make friends again and they speak to each other. And so Arjuna went to see Duryodhana in his camp, and Duryodhana said, I'll give you anything you want. Give you your kingdom back. Anything I can please you with. But Krishna told Arjuna, one time you saved Duryodhana from being killed and he gave you a promise. And you didn't take it, so now is the time to ask. So Arjuna asked that give me the 5 arrows. So Krishna gave Duryodhana gave them to Arjuna. And Bhishma Dev heard that. He said, I'm going to fight to my best ability. Either Arjuna will be killed or Krishna will have to break his promise. So at that point, when the fighting was going on, Krishna picked up the wheel, chariot wheel, running towards Bhishmadev. He said, now you stop fighting. I fulfill your promise. So Bhishmadev dropped his weapons. And at that point, the night came. So this story shows how Krishna is inclined to his devotees, protects his devotees. But Krishna also says that his protection is there according to how you surrender to him. So the more we surrender to Krishna by following his instruction, the more the protection is there. And this protection ultimately is based on, it says in the preface to Bhagavad Gita that there is Prakriti, Jiva, Ishvara, Kala and Karma. So out of the 5, Karma is not eternal. Prakriti is eternal, but it changes, occasionally it changes. But karma you can change by having knowledge. By cultivating knowledge about Krishna, the karma changes. So what does it mean to gain this knowledge? Having this knowledge means that your faith in Krishna becomes strong, that you can surrender. Actually, even in the mundane world, you see, everything comes from name. Name, form, pastime, activities, everything comes from name. But the only difference is in the mundane world, everything is temporary, it finishes very quickly in time. Even all the heroes here, they disappear in time, no one thinks of them. But in spiritual life, the name is not different from the person. So Krishna is not different from his name. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur makes a statement, he says, Krishna creates, he maintains and he destroys. And those who chant his name will never be destroyed. Showing the point that Krishna is not different from his name. And even if he the other way Krishna protects us is that we don't get affected by material existence. The material existence is a place where people suffer like big time. 3, 4 miseries, body and mind, other living entities, natural disturbances. So we can see like, for example, the COVID time, people suffered heavily, But as far as those devotees who are seriously practicing, they didn't suffer much. Because they went through proper knowledge. And they took shelter of the holy name. Actually, I found that, like, if you ask the devotees in terms of increasing their chanting, because Prabhupada only goes minimum 16 rounds. In Vrindavan, they do 64 rounds. So, by increasing the chanting over time, you find you get more spiritual strength. And Prabhupada in his purports in the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, he explains this point. Like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it mentions 16 rounds is just for neophytes. Prabhupada says that at the end of Chaitanya Charitamrita. He mentioned one of the purports. He says that. So, the way to make yourself spiritually strong, from Ekadashi to Ekadashi, you can judge your spiritual advancement. So that's why in the holy dhams they do half-day fasting. In this way you increase your chanting. But if you're preaching Krishna consciousness, like book distribution, that's special, that's different. Prabhupada said that's special concession. Because you're helping the fallen souls, which is much higher principle. But if you're not doing much and you're in the temple, some austerity is good, like this. Because the amount of prasadam we get in the temple balances things out, You get Mahaprasad, you get feasts, so many things come in. So fasting is good, balances things out. And the one has to, like in the property, it mentions how a devotee, give the example of the moon, right? It may have spots on the moon, but it has no significance because of the light coming from the moon. So even a devotee may have some defects, it's just insignificant. And there's an example given, just like example of Chitraketu, when he was flying in the heavenly planets, with his damsels. And he saw Parvati sitting on Lord Shiva's lap. And he started laughing, right? And Parvati caused him to become a demon. But even as a demon, Krishna used him to recite devotional prayers. And Krishna used him in such a way that he became famous for eternity, right? Isn't it? So, we can't judge a devotee in that way. We don't know how Krishna is going to use them. So it's always good to see the bright side of a devotee. And then from that everything, you get all blessings. And the devotional service is a joyful process. So but by seeing the bright side, then you take on the good qualities of the person also. Well, that's the positive side of it. And he says in Jaiva Dharma that a devotee may have some defects in terms of lack of purity or something, but if he's seriously practicing, even those defects will clear up very quickly. As long as someone is not making offenses, is trying his best, then the clearance will come very quickly. And Prabhupada showed that in his book Giriraj Swami, in how he built a Juhu temple. There was one person, he wasn't ready to move out from his flat, and they needed that place for making the temple. So Prabhupada didn't just kicking him out like that. He wanted like 20,000, 30,000 rupees. So Prabhupada gave it to him. And the person, he wanted a grand procession from the devotee side, Harinam, to go to his new flat. So devotees did it for him. So it's a thing to learn that if you can accommodate someone in a devotional life, you have to help them on the devotional path. And and then Krishna's mercy comes. Any comments or questions?
I wanted to ask, what qualifies as an accidental fall down? Prabhupada mentioned three purposes.
Accidental fall down. Let's see. Accidental. Say if accidental means due to conditional nature, right? That's conditional nature. I mean, somebody knowledge falls down, that's not acceptable, right? Even by law, if someone has accidentally done something wrong, the punishment is not so heavy. But if someone accidentally takes bad association, then he realizes that he did wrong and he comes back, that's accidental fall down, right? Isn't it? That's considered accidental fall down. And he says in purport that if someone does not improve in his character, he's considered not a very high-class devotee. That would say if someone in knowledge does something wrong and he's not ready to change his behavior, that's not acceptable. Right? Just like in the time of Radhanath's Maharaj, it happened in Ketananda Maharaj wanted to come back to ISKCON, right? But Maharaj didn't allow him. Radhanath Maharaj didn't allow him. He drew the line. This is line between you and me. Because he could see his character wasn't good in terms of how he was presenting the Krishna conscious philosophy. So important to have good behavior and character, Behavior follows everything. Behavior and character follows everything in terms of, even if someone is lacking knowledge, but if his goal is clear to achieve Krishna, then everything else will become clear very quickly. Is that okay? Anything else? Antaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.